Stephen, the boy they laughed at. Had you ever seen someone the world laughed at, only for that same person to make the whole world clap in the end? There was a boy called Stephen. He lived in a small community not far from a popular polytechnic in his state. Stephen was born into a poor family. His father was a bricklayer, and his mother sold roasted corn by the roadside. Life was never easy for them, but their little home was filled with love and laughter. Everything changed when tragedy struck. One hot afternoon, Stephen's father fell from a building site and died instantly. Just 8 days later, his mother followed. Her heart couldn't bear the pain. At only 12 years old, Stephen was left alone in a world that didn't care whether he ate or slept. He was taken in by an old neighbor who struggled to feed herself. But Stephen never gave up on school. Every morning, he walked long distances with worn-out shoes, carrying a faded bag that held nothing but a notebook and hope. At night, when others slept, he read under the dim light from the street lamp outside their small room. His only dream was to one day make his late parents proud, to prove that the boy from nowhere could still become somebody. Years later, he gained admission into this popular polytechnic in his state. Still poor, still quiet, but determined as ever. He wasn't the type anyone noticed in class. His shoes were worn out, his bag was always hanging by one strap, and when he spoke, people barely listened. To most of his classmates, Stephen was just that boy who always sat in front, but never seemed to fit in. One Monday morning, the school announced a 3-day interdepartmental academic competition, the Brain Battle. It would cover all major subjects: mathematics, English, computer science, and current affairs. The prize was huge, a scholarship and national recognition. Everyone started buzzing with excitement. The loudest voices came from the big boys in the engineering and science departments. They laughed and bragged about how they'd crush everyone else. Stephen's classmates teased him too. "Stephen, will you even understand the questions before the buzzer goes off?" One of them joked. He smiled a small, calm smile and said nothing. Day one arrived. The whole auditorium was filled. The atmosphere was tense, like an exam hall before the invigilator says, "Start." Stephen sat quietly at his corner, clutching a biro he had borrowed the previous night. When the first question dropped, a tricky mathematics problem, Stephen pressed his buzzer before anyone else. His voice trembled as he explained the answer, but when the judges smiled and said, "Correct," the whole hall went silent. One by one, he answered questions with precision and confidence. People began to murmur, "Wait, is that not Stephen?" The quiet boy from computer science. By the end of day one, Stephen was leading. People were shocked. Some clapped, others whispered. But deep down, a few weren't happy, especially those who never believed in him. And among them was someone who would later cause a crisis that could change everything. Day two. The morning of day two came with heavy clouds. The whole campus buzzed about Stephen, the miracle boy, they called him. For the first time, people greeted him on the road, but behind the smiles were eyes filled with doubt. Some said it was just luck. Others whispered that maybe the questions from day one had been too easy. Stephen walked the hall quietly, carrying his only pen, the same one from yesterday. His shoes were dusty, and his shirt had lost its color from too many washes, but his heart burned with one dream: to make his late mother proud. You see, Stephen wasn't just fighting for a competition. He was fighting to prove that poverty was not stupidity, that intelligence wasn't written on fine clothes or big phones. His mother used to tell him, "Son, one day your brain will open doors your hands can't." Those words echoed in his mind as he sat down for the second round. But something strange happened. Just before the competition began, one of the judges announced that a technical issue had occurred. Stephen's score from day one was being reevaluated because of a complaint from one of his rivals, Ton from engineering. The hall went silent. Stephen froze. His heart began to pound. He looked at Tund, who smirked confidently, whispering to his friends, "Let's see if he can still shine today." The quiz began, but Stephen's focus was shaken. Questions flew from left and right: physics, logic, current affairs, and for the first time, he missed a few answers. The crowd started murmuring again. The same people who clapped yesterday now folded their arms. By the end of the day, Stephen had dropped from first position to third. As he walked out the hall, the sky broke open with rain. He stood outside, drenched, watching others run for cover. The whispers hurt more than the rain. He felt small, weak, and lost. His best friend, Daniel, ran up to him and placed a hand on his shoulder. But Stephen said nothing. Tears mixed with the rain on his face. He cried severely, right there under the falling sky, his heart heavy with pain and disappointment. Then quietly, he followed Daniel home, both of them silent, knowing that the next day, the final day, would decide everything. Watch out for part 2. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. God bless you.